I started a garden tour on Sunday, but it was so hot that I'm gonna redo it because this is glorious out. I'm not sure what's going on with our weather. I don't know about your weather, but ours has been going crazy. It's kind of been up and down, then it got really hot, then it was dry, which is weird for us because it's usually really humid. Then it got humid. We had a lot of rain kind of early on, and then it was really hot. And so we got a little bit of rain today, but it's cooling off. It was in the high 90s last week, and I'm pretty sure now it's probably around 70 something. It's really, really, really nice. It's kind of overcast. It looks like it's gonna rain some more. So I thought I'd come out and show you what the garden looks like now because it has changed a little bit. I've been harvesting things and replanting some other things. So let's take a look around. So here's what's in front of the greenhouse. I still have these hibiscus plants, but they are going crazy. They're looking really good. I've got some of the beans that I haven't planted. I've got some Spilanthes back there, and I've got some purple basil that came out volunteer in my herb bed. So I planted them here because I'm not sure where I'm going to put those. I do have one over there. Now I've got some lilies coming up and I've got some more tomato plants that I started after the other ones. So the plan is with those is to actually put them in the caterpillar tunnel and try to see how long I can keep them growing, even like with the frost and everything. I've got a poor little thing here with like just water hanging on, no holes. So the plan is to put those in the caterpillar tunnel. Now that's still not built, and so I've still got to work on that. I've got like multiple projects going on right now, so we'll see if that gets done. But we got some trees here that we're kind of babying to grow that I actually got from my grandma's. Got that potato, it's still coming up there, so you can see still got some water. I just need to pour that in something. But I have this one, and that one right there is just full of dirt. They had the potatoes in it. I harvested those, got about 13 pounds in between those, so I was pretty happy with that. But these are just some zinnias. That's all that came up out of that. And these zinnias over here were volunteer, so I moved them right here. And I love these. These are Coryphosis? I think. I don't know how you say that. But this is the first year growing them. This is actually my first year growing a lot of different flowers. But I love these. They come up in different little varieties. And they come up, and I've got them everywhere. So if you can see this, these are my sunflowers. These are so pretty. They bloom, they just keep putting out blooms. Now this might not have been the perfect place to put it because it is kind of leaning out in my row. But it's going to work for now. So these are watermelon and pumpkins that I started because I didn't have anywhere to put them yet and start them. So I went ahead and started them here, and we'll be moving those out into the other garden. This is wild yarrow. I didn't know there was such a thing. So I'm going to plant this somewhere and keep it. Of course, there is more in the yard, but I just wanted it somewhere. So here we have a couple of rows of tomatoes. Now this is different this year. I decided to try this trellising method. This is just PVC PVC tees on a T-post and some metal conduit, and then baling twine. Now I had the T-posts and I had the baling twine, so I just had to buy the tees, which are very inexpensive, and the metal conduit, which wasn't very much either. So this is working out really well, I think, so far. So we've got lots of varieties of tomatoes. We need a little bit more water on these, but I do have got some marigolds planted here. Got another big one down here by our kitty cat, and those have really done well. But quite the variety of tomatoes. I've not had a green tomato yet, but I've not had a red tomato yet, but we're gonna get close. These two, I kind of broke off part of them whenever I was putting them on, so they're a little bit stressed. But it looks like something broke that one too. Got a little issues going on. But I've got lots of green tomatoes, so we'll wait and see when I get my first red one. The thing about all these tomatoes is I did mark them all, but the markers that I used this year and last year, this year the permanent markers actually coming off being in the weather. So some of my plants, I know it's a tomato, but I have no idea what kind, which is kind of bad because if it does really well, I kind of want to know what kind it is. So I didn't write it down soon enough. I should have written it down as soon as I planted it, and I didn't. Procrastinated on that one, and now I'm probably going to pay for that because I'm not going to know what they are. As long as I get tomatoes, I guess that's okay. So this bed here, these are 2 more marigolds that I started from seed. Now this bed has manure in it from this year, and I believe that is why these are so big. These are just 2. Now I had these 3 beds with brassicas in it. You can tell these are Brussels sprouts, and I have pests. So I have used BT, but I haven't used it again, and I didn't probably use it very good because that one right there looks awful. So I'm not sure, but these may come out, and I may end up just planting something else. This nasturtium did really well though, and this is the first time growing these, and I'm going to save some seeds because I bought a variety pack, so I have a few different kinds. This is the first year I've started this much from seed. I'm trying to think, but I think I started everything in the garden from seed that I planted this year. So it makes me really happy that it feels like quite the accomplishment, I guess. I don't know. But I just love seeing things grow from seed, especially some of these bigger plants, like this big nasturtium right here. I grew that from a seed. I started it, I shouldn't say I grew it, but I started it as a seed, and then I tell you, it's just flourished. It's just beautiful. I think it's such an amazing thing. You have these little seeds that God created, and then you get these beautiful plants. So the plan is to not leave these bare very long. I am going to, actually this looks worse from whenever I was out here yesterday. You can see some of the Brussels sprouts in there, but some of the Brussels sprouts have been eaten on too. So I think I'm just gonna pull them out and try that again some other time, or maybe later and try it in the caterpillar tunnel. We'll see. But I'm gonna put something else in here. The grass is already starting to grow in this one, so I've definitely got to get this planted with something else. So over here I have 3 new little beds. These are 3x3s. I used cedar picket fence, the dog ear fencing. They actually went up a little bit. They're about $1 higher a board this year is what I looked up, what I paid last year, or what I paid before. I don't know if it was, last year. So but I had some more space over here, so I decided to go ahead and do 3 more little beds. So what these have in them is a marigold, of course, in a pot, but I've got some black beauty squash out here, and then these back here are spaghetti squash back here. I'm going to try to trellis these. If they won't trellis, then I'm just going to trail them out into the yard. Now here we've got yellow squash with some thyme back here. And then these back here, I think, are the little sugar baby watermelons that I'm going to try to trellis. And if not, then I'm going to trellis them out in the yard. And then over here is another squash. These are, I think these are round zucchini squash. And then I have these little melons back here. These, I don't know if they're just not getting enough sun or if they're not growing as well. I planted them at the same time as the other ones, as the watermelons over here, and they're not going as much, but they just may be. I've got a little lavender plant tucked back here. I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so it's tucked back there. Now the sugar snap peas have done really, really well. These were planted early with everything else in like March or April, I can't remember. And they've done really, really well. The kale has done really, really well. And actually the kale still looks really good. There's, I guess the bugs didn't find it. It's pretty diverse in here. That is something that I have learned this year, is to, instead of planting all of one thing just in one place, try to put some good smelling herbs out here, some flowers that have smell, and it will kind of mask your vegetables and your plants and kind of keep the pests away. Now, did not work for the brassicas. As you can see, the caterpillars found the moths found my brassicas, but I only had a nasturtium. I didn't have as much over there, but like this kale, there's nothing on it so far, but it's also kind of in with the sugar snap peas and the giant red mustard that has went to seed. You can see the giant red mustard is giant and it has went to seed. The plan was to actually save some of that seed, so I have to Okay, I have to figure out how to do that, but I'm assuming that's what these are right here. See, I'm learning things, learning new things. I thought maybe it was the flowers, but I'm gonna guess it's not. I'm gonna guess that these right here are seed pods, and I'm gonna have to do something about that because they're gonna get everywhere. This stuff grows really well. So I'll be taking, as soon as these are done, as soon as this is all gone to seed, I will be taking all this out. And I'll cut the kale, and I'll be taking this out. I've been taking one last harvest off of the sugar snap peas, and they will be out of here. Because I've actually got sugar snap peas on the other side of the trellis too, and then I can put something over here. Maybe I can try like a small pumpkin or something, and I can maybe get it to go up the trellis. We'll see. This is another bed that's empty. This had my beets in it. We pulled the beets out. My son helped me pull the weeds. Actually, he pulled all the weeds out. And so I've still got to plant something in that or get that covered or something. But here's the other side of the sugar snap peas. You can see they're kind of starting to die off. And so we're pulling that out and planting something else there. All right, this bed had the kohlrabi in it, which did really well. I will definitely be planting that again, and maybe even this fall. This dill was totally volunteer, and so was the cilantro. And I had planted it last year in between tomato plants that I had in here, and it didn't come up, but it decided to this year. So I just left it because you can always use some dill, or you can use it to, you know, a smell and just mask your other plants. But here are the green beans plus a weed. Pull that one out of there. So these are the green beans. You can see that they are starting to get some little, going to start flowering, and looks like we've got maybe some beans forming over there on that side. These are purple. These are purple on this side, and then those are regular bush beans over there. Now I see they finally come up. If I can get Simba to move out of the way here. I did plant some rutabagas over here, and it looks like we've got some coming up right here and right here, and little bitty ones right there. Oh, and right here. So all 4 spots that I planted the rutabagas are coming up. I was really wondering about the rutabagas because they were taking their sweet time. It looks like I need to pull some weeds out of here, but it smells amazing. I can smell the dill now that I've gotten down here, and it smells wonderful. Simba wants to say hi. He's very, very loving. Hello, Simba. All right, next bed we have, this is where the bunching onions and the weeds were, and I pulled that out. So I got a few onions, but that's about it. I had an oregano plant that kind of broke off, so I went ahead and potted it, and it stayed alive. So I have moved it over here. This is just a extra sunflower I had. These are acorn squash, these 2 here, and then these are the cave beans that a friend gave me. And the plan is to have them go up this side of the trellis, so we're going to see how that works out for me. Now this is the lettuce over here that we had, and it's just now starting to bolt. I'm thinking I probably could have cut, I could probably still cut some of this over here. It's still pretty low, but this is bolting, and this is going to go to seed, and that's okay because I'm actually going to save some of the seed from it. This was, I believe, an oak leaf lettuce. You can tell by the kind of the crazy looking leaves, but it's gone to seed, so I will save some of that seed as well. I definitely plant this. I planted this very early, and I got about 3 pounds of lettuce off of it. I could have gotten more. I just didn't keep up on it, and it bolted. Next time I will maybe put a shade cloth over it or something to keep so much heat off of it. I did put it here on purpose because it is shaded in the early morning, and then it's shaded as the sun goes past the greenhouse right here. I learned that how much shade the greenhouse puts on the raised bed, so I definitely have to put shade plants here that don't get as much, that doesn't need as much sun. So this trellis is new. This is just a cattle panel. It's a little wonky because we've used it for many things. It was not new whenever I put it up. But these are some more cucumbers that I have, and I'm going to try to get to go up this side of the trellis. We'll see how well they do because there is the mass of asparagus forest right here. These will eventually be cut, but probably not right now. As you can see, they just fall over it. I have to kind of pick them up and put them back. I've actually got a weed growing in the greenhouse that needs to be pulled out. They sneak in there and I miss some of them. Get this back up here out of the way. Tuck it in there. Maybe it will stay. Maybe. So this is the comfrey that I started this year and put it here. A friend of mine told me that it will go crazy, so it's kind of out of the way for now. We're gonna see how it works. This is my cardboard. I've really got to work on it. Put some more down over here. I love using cardboard because it definitely helps keep the weeds down. It helps keep the grass. I don't have to mow because this in here would go crazy. I weed eated it and then put the cardboard down. Now, one of the things you do want to do is maybe wet it or put it on right before it's going to rain. Luckily, it rained early this morning and kind of wet it down, and then it kind of forms to the ground. And so that worked really well. You can also pick your weeds and then place them on top of it. And so these are all, they just kind of dried out in the sun. And it's not, doesn't look great, but it does help hold the cardboard down some. So there's that. Let's walk down this row. So here I have some burdock at the end of here. Now, I have no idea if it was a good place to put them. I had some spares, so these may have to be moved eventually, but that's where they're going for now. I don't have anything here until you get to the tomatoes. This is the whole row of tomatoes here. And then I've got tomatoes, and then there's some peppers. And then right here we have cucumbers. So I've got cucumbers here that will eventually be trellised. I'm gonna try doing the baling twine just like I did with the tomatoes up to here. So I'm gonna try to trellis that. We're gonna see how that works this year. So if we move on down here, we've got some peppers that I'm running into spider webs as well. But we've got some peppers coming on here. And again, I really have no idea. We'll see what this tag says. Yeah, it says nothing. Yeah, see? Now if I could read that, but it's very, very faint, and Simba's wanting to be petted. Yeah, that's what happens to your tags with permanent marker when you put them out here in the rain and the sun. So I'm gonna have to really look at my seed packets and figure out what I have. But I've got more tomatoes, more tomatoes, more tomatoes, more tomatoes. This is definitely some kind of heirloom. I think I have pineapple poles, so I'm wondering if that's what that one is. But definitely gotta, you'd think they'd have enough water, but it was really, really hot. So I will have to get out here and water, but the plan is eventually to get some kind of drip system out here and just put on these rows. I don't have water out here. I'd have to run a hose out here. We're gonna see how that works, and then maybe eventually, once I get this set like I want it, I've changed this from last year, had the rows going a different way, and I've added more raised beds, so it just kind of changes and evolves. The garden does, or mine seems to. So here we've got one of those marigolds you saw earlier. And then we have these pepper plants. I don't remember if this is not a jalapeno, it's a natapino plant. And then I've also got one that is, instead of a habanero, it's a habanada plant. So it just takes the heat out of them. We've got little blooms on these. Again, I'm gonna have to look and see what these all are, because I'm pretty sure that all of the tags are blank. So I have picked one off of these. We've got some peppers on these. Just walk down here and see. We've got some grass poking up through here. And then we've got more cucumbers. I am not sure how I'm gonna do these, because I gotta figure out how I'm gonna trellis these. I may get a small cattle panel piece and put here and trellis them. Last year we trellised the cucumbers on cattle panels, and that worked really well, but I do not have that many cattle panels this year because we've been using them for other things. So I'm gonna have to see if I have a piece. Maybe I have a small piece. I could probably get one and cut it in half and put it right here. And then we've actually got more cucumbers over here. So I wanted to plant a variety of cucumbers. I've got some early ones. I've got some just, well, I think I have like 7 or 8 different varieties. So, and again, I have them marked, but I didn't write them down on a piece of paper. So I'm probably going to say that wherever the tag is, wherever the tag is, it's probably, you probably can't tell what it is. And I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay, wait a minute. There's writing on this one. Okay, so this is a Boston pickling cucumber, and that's probably what all these are right here. Let's just check and see, because they are all kind of the same size, so I'm going to assume I planted them at the same time. Yeah, those are all Boston pickling. Now, all of these, there was something here, but I think there's only one that came up, and it's this tiny little cucumber right here. And I'm telling you, I just weeded this, and there's everywhere. It's this tiny little cucumber. This is a Mexican sour gherkin, and it's just not doing real well. It's the only one I think that came up out of all of them. And then there's was planted 4 more here. Looks like 3 came up, and that's not dill. This is a lemon cucumber. See, I reuse. This is a lemon cucumber, so it'll be like little yellow. They look like little yellow cucumbers, and I guess they have a lemony maybe flavor. More weeds. This is the last row that I haven't finished yet. You can see the green beans are over here. This is all eventually going to go all the way down like the other one. But we've got some more peppers. This may be the habanada plants. Maybe. Like, I can't see. I'm trying to find a tag, but these are different, so I don't know where the tag is. So my advice for that would be to definitely write down what you're planting, because you won't remember, and sometimes permanent marker does not work real well outside, evidently. Okay, so now we've got green beans over here, and I have volunteer tomato plants. How when you plant something and you expect it to do a certain thing, but it does something opposite, that's what's happening right here. These are supposed to be bush beans. They do not look like bush beans to me. They are vining. And they're not supposed to be. That's why I planted them over here. I thought they would bush. But they're not. So I'm not sure what we're going to do with them now, because I don't know. I'd have to maybe get a trellis. But so here's more of the sunflowers. It's kind of weird. They're kind of tall, and they just get shorter and shorter and shorter. But volunteer tomato plants coming up. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. They're kind of choking out my flowers that I have over here. Some little sunflowers that I planted. And looks like these are going to be maybe cherry tomatoes. Oh, and let me show you the other volunteer tomatoes. I think it in a row that doesn't have so many weeds. I have on like sandals and my feet are getting wet. And Simba, he knows where to lay it. He likes to spend time in the garden. Oh, I forgot one bed. But check this out. So this is at the end of the chicken coop, the chicken run. So this run did come all the way down, and we would throw the scraps in here. And whenever I would pull, you know, I would pick weeds or whatever it might be, they would get thrown over here. So this is where all the tomato seeds are. All the tomatoes. And it's just like growing like crazy, because this is manure. This is manure from the barn. I've been having to find places to put it. So these are tomatoes that are coming out everywhere. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with them. I think I'm just gonna like let them just do their thing right here, and then see what happens. As long as nothing gets on them and just, you know, I end up with like a ton of worms on them, and then that could hurt my other ones. I'm just gonna like kind of see what they do. I don't want to move them or anything, because I really have no idea what they are. Kind of like my other ones that I planted in the garden, you know, because I don't know what they are either. But I've got 2 compost bins over here that I'm totally trying. Have not tried those before, and we're just gonna see how that works out. I'm totally winging that. This is a blackberry bush that has got to be trimmed. I'm going to trim all these long ones off and kind of keep it down where I can get to it. But you can see there's going to be lots of berries, and they're starting to turn, so that's really good. But let's go out here to the food forest. So I call it a food forest because that's what I want it to be eventually. It does not look very good right now, but I have future plans for it. So this is the strawberry bed that really needs to be thinned out. I've quit picking them. They've basically kind of quit producing. There's a bunch of clover in there, and that's what's coming up now. So with all the rain that we had, it really got wet in there, and there was a lot of mold and mildew inside. And they would basically, but they're putting out runners. So I mean, this is just crazy. This was from 2 plants last year. Two strawberry plants. That's it. They put out a crazy amount of runners. I got more plants that I planted over in the food forest around the trees and the shrubs. They just went nuts. This is another blackberry area that I thought I could control a little bit more. I don't know what I was thinking. So I'm going to cut off these long new runners, these new vines, whatever they're called, but lots of blackberries on here. The point was to try to keep it to where I could pick them, because they have thorns and these hurt. So, but the thing is, wherever you put them, that's where they are, because I have them coming up out around this. So I mean, they put down runners in the ground and they're there. So you either have to mow them off or don't put them there, basically. Because the other pile over there that I showed you, this one over here, it's over by the garden, that was where it was originally, and we weren't going to keep them there. Yeah, they came back, and so we're just going to keep them there, I guess. This is a new plant. I have to check on these and to see when you're supposed to actually pick these, but these are a huckleberry. Let's see. Yeah, this is a huckleberry. I grew these from seed, and I haven't picked these yet because I'm not real sure when you pick them. So I'm gonna say these are probably right, because I mean, this one isn't, obviously, but yeah, I don't know. But these are actually producing, and they're not really that big of plants. I mean, you can tell Simba's like right there. Now, the lemon balm I had to break up. It was going crazy up in my herb bed. So I put it out here, trimmed it down, and it's coming out. Looks really good, actually. And I have like some manure piles out here, some big weed piles. This is a blueberry bush that has produced rather well for its size. This one as well. I've got to get some of these off of here. Now, when we were getting a lot of rain, they were producing a lot and they were bigger berries. Now I've noticed that the berries are smaller, and while I'm still getting blueberries, they're just not as big. Now, I have this tree that I'm pretty sure is either a pear or an apricot tree. I bought it last year, and I'm pretty sure it's dead. Okay, maybe it's not dead. I just noticed this. No, it's not dead. This part is dead. There's new growth coming out down here. So I'm not real sure what to do about that. What happened was, this actually flowered this year, early this year, and then we got a crazy freeze of like 25 degrees for like 2 days. And I think it killed this tree up so far, because it's a young tree. But that's good to know that it's got new growth coming out on the bottom. And then I've got some strawberries planted around it. So the whole food forest thing. I've got some fennel out here that I put because it said to put it somewhere where it could expand. So the fennel's out here along with some more manure piles. I'm like running out of spaces to put manure. So they're going out here to kind of age and then be dispersed. This is another tree that, as you can tell, is not very tall. It's about, I don't know, a foot and a half tall now. It used to be bigger, but when we had more goats, they would get out of the fence, and this is the first place they went. And they actually killed, like, I don't know, let's see, 3, 4, 5 of my trees by peeling the bark off of them. One of my very favorite peach trees that I've not been able to find again was a white peach, and so that's the plan, is to find another one of those and plant it, but they killed it. They stripped the bark all the way around it perfectly, and it killed it. So this one they just like broke off, but it's coming back out, but I have no idea what it is. No idea. But this could work. This could work. A small little tree. But they've got strawberries planted around it. Got some more manure. This is a nectarine tree, and it's got quite a few nectarines on it, but it's too tall. It's too tall. So it's definitely got to be trimmed. And then it's got some things around it. I think it's got some sage and some strawberries and some other things around it that I had extra of, so I planted around that. Now, This peach tree was loaded and did not have this many on it last year, and it was just, it needed to be trimmed, and now it has to be trimmed because it's basically, can you see that? Yeah, it's just broke. Like all the, I mean, it was tall as that other one, as tall as the nectarine tree, and it just broke. I come out here one day, yeah, this is what I saw. But I haven't done anything with it because the leaves are okay. They're not wilting, so the tree is still getting nutrients. So I'm gonna leave it until I can get these picked, which is going to be very soon. I've been kind of testing them, and I've taken a couple inside. They do have pests on them, but you can tell if you look down here on the ground. Something else has found them as well, is pulling them off and eating them. So they're definitely ripe. Or at least some of them are ripe. So I guess I need to come out here and just test them and pick them. And then this tree's got to be trimmed, and I'm hoping that it lives. But there is pests in them. The ones that I took inside did have some worms in them. You know, I mean, they know exactly when they're ripe. So I think it'll be okay. Then we've got the bees over here, and they seem to be doing good, I'm hoping. They've been eating their food. Some more burdock out here. I put some more, I think that's burdock. Because I had a lot of it and I put it everywhere. Again, did I mark it? I don't think I marked it. So I think that's what it is. But a lot of weeds. This is a lot of weeds. I put cardboard out here. And it did help some. It kind of blew away. But I've got more cardboard. I need to put more down, and I've got some stuff I want to do around the trees and things. And then I'm going to show you this other little plant here. So we've got this little plant here. This is a, where's the tag at? This is, I think it is a German blackberry. But they're like adorable. They're tiny. Oh, there's the tag. Weed. Let's see what we got here. It is a blackberries, a Schwartz. It's a German blackberry. So, get the weeds out of the way here. This one, tiny little blooms. They're itty bitty. So I haven't tried these either. I have to look up, make sure. One, you had to make sure that it was like completely ripe. Which is probably not the best thing to buy, but. And then I have a little Tamarillo dwarf. I didn't realize that those probably get as big as what I was thinking, so I put it out here. I've got 2 or 3 more in pots. I'll have to find somewhere else to put it. But I've got a couple of lemonade bushes, pink lemonade, blueberries over there. I've had them forever. I had them around the house when we first built the house, and so I don't even know if they're going to do anything, because they do have a few berries on them, but they're actually going to turn a pink color, and they're taking forever, so they just may be old. I don't really know. They probably need to be trimmed, but we'll see what happens. I've got some more pasture out here I want to kind of fence off. Maybe I've got some wildflowers coming up in here, lots of clover. I could probably fence this off and let Annabelle out here, but we put down this carpet that we took off the deck, I'm not going to reuse, and an old pull tarp. Put it out here. I'm going to actually burn some holes in this and plant the pumpkins out here so that the weeds won't come up right through them and be such a mess. So we'll see how that works for us. I've actually seen people using the greenhouse fabric, where it's like the black fabric and it comes in rolls and you just lay it down and then you burn the holes and it keeps it down, but I don't really have that luxury of buying that right now, and so this is gonna have to work. So if you got an old tarp laying around or some old like indoor-outdoor carpet laying around and you want to use it and burn holes in it, then you could burn holes in it like I did. That's about all I've got. I've got some more flowers. I've got some more roses and stuff around here that I'm gonna walk by. Some more sunflowers. They're just so pretty. So pretty. I love these. And I'll have to look at the tag because I don't remember what they're called. My calendula in pots is not faring so well because it got really dry. I was really used to all the rain we were getting, and then this really needs to be redone right here. Got a little rose. These hostas are huge. Really needs to be probably cut down or separated. And I've got to trim all my roses and get the crazy clover out of there. These all need to be trimmed. I've got my garlic here. I'm letting a couple go to seed. And then these are all, may pick those later this year. More marigolds that I started. I've got some more sunflowers. My poor bird bath doesn't get much sun right now. Ooh, this one is blooming. Aren't those pretty? And then these are the more of the Tamarillo dwarf trees, and we'll see what happens there. I've got a little, I actually planted some of these zinnias. I threw down some of these zinnia seeds, and there's one coming up there. This is where I transplanted the other ones from too. And then of course the lilies are coming up, and another hosta. I just remembered, I do want to show you one other thing. So I bought these little patio eggplant seeds, and we don't even eat eggplant. I don't even know how to cook eggplant, but I bought the seeds and I started the plants, and I had 4 of them, and I've planted all 4 of them, but only 2 of them have little eggplants on them, and they're only supposed to get 2 to 3 inches big. So I planted 2 up with my herbs and stuff, and then I planted the other 2 out here on the pool deck because I had nowhere else to put it. I was running out of place to put things. So I'm going to show you these because they're super adorable. I mean, are these not like super adorable? I mean, it's like the size of my thumb. It's a mini eggplant, and it's going to get, well, maybe 2 to 3 times that big. We got a Spilanthes plant out here, and then some more of this Corposis. Same thing over here. This is actually a pansy that came up because that's what was in here before. And then a little Spilanthes toothache plant. If you've never had one of these, this is what the flower looks like. More of these cute flowers. And then another little eggplant. If you've never tried these, I love these. They're so cool. And if you've never tried them, you totally should. Because you actually, so they work off the saliva, and so I haven't tried the flower because it's more potent, but I have tried the leaf. So if you take a piece of the leaf or even a small leaf and you chew it, make sure it's clean, but chew it, and it actually will turn the inside of your mouth numb. So that's why it's called the toothache plant. It's pretty cool. I wasn't too sure that it would work, but it totally works. And then we just got some plants in here. These are, I think these might have about had it. Well, it's still blooming. I was gonna say the sun, the hot weather may have done them in, but everything is really blooming. Everything is blooming really well. I have cut my lemon balm over here. I've cut it, and it's coming back out. It was kind of going crazy, so I cut it, and I've got some lemon balm inside drying. This way it can kind of stay closer to the ground and produce some more new growth. But you saw a little bit of a sweep of my herb area earlier of just, it doesn't look pretty. I don't have any mulch down. Haven't got quite that far yet, but the bee balm is getting ready to bloom. Actually, there might be one. Let's see here. Let's say the bee balm is getting ready to bloom because I saw this one, but this one here looks like it has bloomed. They're just such a neat flower. So this will attract bees and all kinds of good insects. So I hope you enjoyed that garden tour. I love my echinacea. I know I just can't quit talking about flowers, but I love my echinacea. This is actually an echinacea plant that I bought for like $2 or $3 on clearance last year because it was broke. One of the blooms it had one bloom and it was all broke off, and the plant all in all looked kind of healthy, and it was a perennial, so I was like, yeah, I'll take that. I mean, what have I got to lose? And it's doing phenomenal. I mean, it did not bloom like this last year. It's going crazy. I love it. I did start 4 from seed this year, so I've got those put out. They're tiny right now, but hopefully maybe by next year we'll see what they do and have some more echinacea plants. But that's just the back. I've got more in the front, but we're not going to go up there because I actually haven't eaten dinner yet. So I'm going to go in and eat and then maybe enjoy this really, really nice, cool weather right now. And it's like in the middle of June. It's kind of crazy. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you try some new things in your garden this year, and don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try new things, because sometimes they work really well.